Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speak to the measure.
Delegate has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is a budget that our voters last fall voted for us. And it's a statement of our relentless optimism about the future of the Commonwealth. I've been here now over 12 years, and I don't know that I've seen a budget quite like this one. I think credit can be shared wildly from the staff who's worked so hard to put it together, to the 7 new committee members on the House Appropriations Committee who brought new energy to that committee, to the new members in this body who asked probing questions and provided critical input to the Appropriations Committee as they did their work. And certainly to you, Mr. Speaker, and the chair of the Appropriations Committee for your leadership in building a more inclusive process over the years, a process of respect, where the perspectives of many different people are heard, both in small meetings, in public debates. Budgets are important not because they are structurally imbalanced. They're important not because they are structurally balanced and that they fund core services of government, but they're important because they reflect our values as a Commonwealth. And in this budget, Mr. Speaker, there are plenty of very good values that are reflected. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this budget is important in terms of its value and also in terms of its financial viability. The decision was made to provide additional health care coverage to low-income Virginians by accessing our tax dollars that had been flowing out of the state at the tune of $10 billion, spending time in Washington and never coming back to the Commonwealth of Virginia. The chair said this when he made his opening statement last Sunday on the budget. And it is recognized that this budget does not work without that decision. It's not structurally sound without that decision to get those tax dollars back to Virginia. Without that decision, it would have been very hard to do what this budget does. It would have been very hard in K through 12, not just to re-benchmark for the standards of quality, about $480 million, but also to provide more lottery money to school divisions and give them more flexibility, and also to provide those extra investments to smaller jurisdictions who have a very difficult time in this kind of environment. Without this decision to access those federal dollars, it would have been hard to make those investments that the chairman discussed in higher education. It would have been hard to create those new degrees in science, big data, healthcare, engineering. Mr. Speaker, it would be hard to fund and accelerate the raises in this budget for teachers, public employees, sheriffs, law enforcement personnel. And it would be hard to continue and to expand our credentialing programs and our investments in the ports, so key to the future of this Commonwealth. Finally, Mr. Speaker, without that decision, it would have been hard to make the investments in mental health and to support more IDDD waivers, as important as we feel they are. The other body is having a much more difficult time with this decision, and their budget is severely lacking as a result. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, last November, voters spoke loudly and clearly that they support the values embodied in this budget. In a sense, this is the budget that Virginians voted for. Today, we also have a chance to vote for that budget, and we have a chance to fight for it as it goes over to the other body. I strongly urge my colleagues to vote for HB 30.
Delegate from Loudoun, Delegate LaRock.
Question for the patron of the bill.
Third.
I want to applaud the